Hello everyone, in this video I'll be ranking all of the Vault Hunters in Borderlands 4 on a tier list from best to worst. This is going to be taking Ultimate Vault Hunter 7 and the new Subjugator and Thol boss fight into consideration here, and honestly the power rankings have changed a lot since we've last talked about them. And this will also be considering Bloom Reaper as well, because that is still something that people are running, as well as we'll also be considering general mobbing too. So I'll also be doing all of this live, but I have ran through the new bosses hundreds of times now, so I have a very firm idea of where each of these stand, and I will be doing a future video here soon where I rank all of the skill trees, as there are some pretty big changes overall to the Vault Hunters which I want to break down here. Now, we're first going to start off with Vex. And when it comes to Vex, a lot of her damage comes from kill skills, but we don't have to worry because Mortal Terror, which also comes on her new class mod, allows us to activate kill skills when we critically hit enemies. What's nice with the new class mod is that lets us open things up and play a little bit differently, but in my opinion, this is the best Vex build because it covers everything here. So we got our gun damage increases, we got increased max stacks. An unfortunate thing is Vex actually caught a nerf recently. Witchy Trigger Finger used to get affected by great power, taking it up to 6 stacks, so she does end up losing 45% gun damage off the max stacks here, so that is kind of harsh, but she's still very strong. But it actually might surprise you where she ranks up against the other Vault Hunters. With level 60 allowing her to grab, I always used to grab enchantment here, getting bonus kinetic damage, but we can also on kill skills, which are going to activate again on critical hits, restore a portion of her missing action skill duration, so she can get her action skill to last very long. And Mourning, this will increase the kill skill effectiveness by 30%. Now Vex will actually scale pretty well when the level cap increases, as it'll allow us to get down and take more points in a Grave Thirst, but her Team Witch class mod will also give that to her. Alternatively, in the future, we may be able to run Reverberations here a little bit easier with the Incarnate skill tree, but if you really want to min-max, it's likely going to be using that green skill tree and taking advantage of Watts for Dinner, the most annoying item in the entire game to farm. It is the big encore boss of the week currently, so this is the time to grab it. But being able to use Amp with the Team Witch, which is constantly giving you lifesteal, which goes onto your Overshield, which fuels Watts for Dinner for more damage, she can do some pretty crazy stuff. Pair this with a rep kit giving you Leech and you can just be unkillable. She's one of the tankiest Vault Hunters in the game just because she's got so much natural lifesteal in her kit. However, these new bosses require insane amounts of damage, and Vex is starting to fall off a little bit in terms of her damage output. She's still obviously very strong, but there's other characters in the game, obviously Cash and Harlowe, and even Amon, who surprisingly are power scaling quite a bit here. So this is the setup that I like to use. Typically, Crow Source is going to be an excellent weapon to pair alongside something like Crazed Earl as well. Juliet Sparkle added in the newest DLC. You can also go all in on a sniper build, and even the new Solar Temper works very well with Vex. This is an exploding weapon, so it's actually really good against Bloom Reaper as well. And on top of this is an order weapon, so she can use her Bloodshot on this. This is a sniper rifle doing insane damage. The thing with Vex is she's very versatile though. You can use things like the Flash Cyclone as well as honestly really anything. The Dark Beast, the shotgun loader is great. And she has infinite ammo, so she can really use a lot of guns. However, things like the Constable are very hard to use because you'd have to throw out an Eldritch Blast in between, and it uses 2 rounds per pellet. This gun is unstoppable on Cash and Harlowe, and it falls short with Vex, unfortunately. She can get by using TK's Wave if you do invest some points into Phase Pocket to increase magazine size so that we can get her ammo back. Unfortunately, against Subjugator, Shalashiska is a weapon I love to use with Vex with the shotgun loader, but since he's flying, he's not getting hit with all these explosive rounds. And I'll just do a live example here against Subjugator and Thol. The thing is, she's going to really benefit from using weapons like this is the Crow Source here, so it can do some insane damage if you got this set up well. And we're using the shock version, obviously, against Subjugator here. The only thing is, she's a little bit less reliable with getting the kills off against this boss, unfortunately. You do want to use high caliber and line it up as best you possibly can here. She's going to have her action skill for a very long amount of time too, which is pretty nice. So in between phases here, you're going to try and get those critical hits off because those are going to give you your action skill for a longer amount of time. Her Witchy Trigger Finger there is going to give her ammo back. And the great thing about using the Crow Source is the multi-hit is going to allow you to get vibe checks. So yeah, it is pretty powerful. The only thing is she is a little bit less reliable with getting clears than say Amon for surprising reason, which you'll see here in a moment. So with Vex, she really relies on you doing everything perfectly. Like that is the only downside to this, is that if you screw up one time, you're going to have a very hard time with getting the platinum time here in Ultimate Vault Hunter 7. Like I accidentally used a rep kit a bit too early there, and it's not properly allowing me to stack up crazy amounts of damage. So She is a little bit less reliable. You do have to play literally perfectly to get her to work as best possible, as the action skill economy here is just a little bit tricky. So I'll show you here. I'm using the Crazed Earl. I really like this weapon, especially with the corrosive version, because you can just get in and then melee and do a ton of damage. So that's going to chunk away his health quite a bit. But Thol actually has a pretty big counter. He's got lifesteal armor, so that obviously takes out one of Vex's biggest strengths here. And that's why I think this is actually kind of a tough fight for Vex, because not that it like nukes her damage much, it's just going to make her a little bit less reliable at getting her amp off. And then once we get into this phase here, this is also a tricky one, trying to get Subjugator and trying to get all of this to work properly. In all honesty, Vex is not as reliable as Amon, and I'll show you guys why whenever we get to Amon here in a second. But just the thing is, with this setup, you do have to, again, play perfectly to ensure that you're able to get this to work properly, and that means throwing your Eldritch Blast out at the right time, making sure that you're moving around and being in the right position at the right time. And you can see here, it is kind of difficult. He's going to get a shield here from Thol, and this is going to screw me out. Oh no, he's doing the other one. Perfect. So yeah, you really don't have the same damage output compared to like level 50 when we were looking at things like Bloom Reaper the Invincible. So that is one of the big downsides here, and we do have Guns and Needles, which lets us get our action skill back. So it is like, there are ways around it, but we're relying on RNG a lot of the time. And the only thing is, it's a little bit quick, or it's a little bit more challenging to do this perfectly here. So I'm using a Crow Source with the fast charging here. The damage you can see is nice, but we're likely not going to grab the platinum time here. Again, it is possible the platinum time with Vex, like she can do it. You just have to play things really perfectly to be able to get it reliably. There's also some janky builds for Vex as well. Like she does have builds where you're using like the new class one that was added in the or in Ellie's DLC, and then you use a weapon like the Sunspot without a lot of ammunition, where it can do some pretty crazy damage with the rifts. But yeah, the only downside is she just lost out to the power scaling here, and you can see we lost the platinum time already. But again, it is possible. I'm just doing this live while talking to you guys and explaining. So with Vex, you really have to be in a flow state. You gotta make sure that you're using your rep kit at the right time to get your action skill back. You gotta be blasting Witchy Trigger Finger the moment that your ammo's gonna run out. And you could even use something like Heart Pierce, although going with Vibe Check just ends up being a little bit better from the ricochet. So I'd have to say Vex, this is my favorite character to play. Don't get me wrong where I'm placing her. I wanna put her in the B tier. I think she's great, but the power scaling in the new Ultimate Vault Hunter 7, and again, Subjugator and Thol the Invincible, she does show where there are some weaknesses here. Now, if they kept it where Witchy Triggerfinger gave her that extra 45% gun damage, that would obviously help out a little bit here, because she does have ways to get bonus damage. So again, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. Vex is my favorite character to play, but I'm going to set her into the B tier, and you're going to see why as you go through this video. Now, as we look at the Forge Knight Amon here, he actually got multiple buffs. One of the biggest buffs was the last DLC, adding in the Heimdall launcher. This thing is insane. Now, heavy gun ordinances are pretty interesting. If you haven't used them, they count as a gun and an ordnance, which means that if you're using a specialization like Fragmented Payload and or Force Spectrum Arsenal, I should say, this takes your gun damage, increases, and adds it again. So if you have something that gives 100% gun damage, it's actually 150% gun damage on your heavy ordnance. We get a nice double dip there. And this thing just is insane. So it's actually worth getting the DLC just for this alone if you're an Amon fan. But it's also even not necessary. He's got really good purple assault or LM heavy guns here, like the Litter Splitter, Roly Poly's okay. The Rocket Socket is a solid one. Tongue Wag as well. Honey Bunches. He's got great purples. These are for Bloom Reaper. Everything else, Heimdall. Heimdall's just crazy. You can get it with a variety of different elemental rolls, although you don't even need them. You can just go for one that's just regular old damage, and it's insane. Amon did get the new Artificer here, which gives him the Bullet Hail, which is kind of like a ricochet, which is pretty fun. And you can do a bit of a ricochet build here, although I did find that it's a little bit less powerful. But one cool thing about this is, from my experimenting, like you can grab My Touch is Death when you deal melee damage. You can activate your kill skills, and you actually have some pretty solid kill skills that scale up your damage. And the funny thing about that class mod is the mantra works with it as well. So I have done multiple builds where I do use the My Touch is Death, but where Amon gets a lot of his skills are from things like Tail of the Comet, Scorch Kairos, and I have a class mod that's giving me Primal Surge. This is what gives him infinite ammo alongside our green skill, the Endless Bombardment. And since Heimdall is a multi-hit heavy ordnance, it actually gets pretty crazy here. Now, the red skill tree is actually pretty solid here because this allows us to go in and do Groundbreaker, which stores our gun action skill and ordnance damage. When we do a melee attack, it'll actually do quite a bit of damage. And this also means that you can use underbarrels. Like Amon is an underbarrel merchant. He really benefits from these, but they're not even necessary. All you need is a heavy ordnance. Pretty much every Amon build I've ever done has used Berserk and There Is Only Red. It's just a very powerful skill for him. But with the new DLC, I found that adding in electrical fire is really good because if you watch for dinner, which is shock, it'll also burn. And there's a lot of fleshy red health bars. So this is actually a really good choice. And also Dragon's Breath. Now, this makes Subjugator a huge pain in the rear because this turns it all into fire damage. And if you have him being a fire eater, you're not doing anything to him. It just becomes really annoying. So he's another one that just wants to fight Thol, typically. But he's also great to play with friends because he has Gut Punch here, which can weaken enemies, which makes them deal less damage and you deal more damage to them, which is pretty substantial because the target is going to do 40% less damage. I've also had some success with running the Scourge skill tree here, which gives you a big shield to block damage, also nice. But having this here to rocket punch your way around, you're literally Doomfist from Overwatch. I really like using the Horror Cleave here, which will give you the detonations, but I've actually did a bit more testing. Stormcutter is the better option here because this can give your action skill cooldown. If you hit 4 targets, it just gives you it back pretty much immediately. It's very good. So for Amon, what you want to do is just get in and throw your Heimdall. That's it. He does struggle a little bit. Like the first phase actually is kind of tough for a lot of Vault Hunters because you got to get around and attack these annoying eyeballs so they don't end up healing Thol here. But you can see once you start getting those Heimdalls out, the little floating doll heads here do insane damage and it just will melt Subjugators. You can see there. It's pretty silly. This is what I'm saying about Amon being a very good pick now. It's another build that like you can literally have like a grandma playing this game and yeah, she's gonna have great success because you don't have to aim, you can shoot these wherever you want. You just have to be smart with your timing on when you pull this out and when you're using your class mod or when you're using your rep kit, because if you have less than 3 Heimdalls out, you're gonna end up losing it. So not something you obviously want to do, but you can see here, we don't even have to care about that bubble. Thol is taken down. I'm scratching my nose. It is straight up easy. This is the only hard part right here, so we want to make sure that we get Subjugator. So you really want to like double jump and force these to get right in his face as much as you possibly can. Fighting Subjugator in the second phase is really annoying, so this is something that we're actually doing a pretty solid job on. The only downside is once that invincibility shield pops, you're kind of screwed by RNG in this fight, but yeah, you see it right there. You don't even have to think too much, and Subjugator is just getting melted. I'm not even pressing the fire button as quickly as possible. And the funny thing about this is I haven't even used my action skill yet, but it's just so unstoppable, it doesn't even really need it. But you can see here, it's silly. All you have to do is shoot out these little heads here, and it'll deal with all the mobs that we have nearby as well, so that can actually be really nice too. This is one of the easiest builds to actually clear Thol and Subjugator with, so yeah, very fun. And you can also then use your Forge skill here. This is going to activate our Berserk here, and then we can go ahead with our action skill. I should have probably, you want to start with the action skill first. You can then do spread, typically you do spread launcher and then action skill there to get the most damage out. I didn't end up switching the skill around properly, but yeah, you can see we're having no problem with getting the Ultimate Vault Hunter 7 time here. You do have to take care of all the additional enemies, but that's not too bad. Amon also has crazy sustain as well because of the ordnance damage. If you got a particular skill here, it'll just give you back infinite shield. So he's tanky, he pretty much does everything. He's also making the boss deal 40% less damage to you and you're dealing 20% more damage. Yeah, he is so useful. You don't have to aim. Amon is so good. He is seriously so good. It's such a shock because Amon is considered the worst Vault Hunter for the longest time. And honestly, all it took was one really good heavy ordnance here with the Heimdall to really change that and bring him up to a much higher tier in my rankings here. This is a mixture of the red and blue skill trees like I showed you here, and you can see it. There is a new flak cannon, which I just got a drop from Thol here, and the flak cannon works pretty well too, but you just want to get the Heimdall to make this a lot easier. This can be done with the like honey bunches and things like that, and that's the preferred weapon for Bloom Reaper, but as you guys can see here, platinum rank, and you can do this in your sleep. It is that easy, so that is why I put Vex in the B tier. She's a little bit less reliable. It's still possible, again, as I mentioned, but the A tier now stands for Amon tier. We're getting a big change here. He, in my opinion, especially against this boss, ends up being better than Vex, which is something I would not have imagined saying like 5 months ago. Now, where do I begin with Rafa? He's in rough shape. You may have seen my video where I talked about the problems that Rafa's kit obviously has, and I'm hoping that next Thursday they'll end up undoing a lot of the nerfs that they gave Rafa. So previously they changed Buddy Deluxe from 8 seconds down to 4. This means it's really hard to use with certain weapons, and if you accidentally reload before using it, you're SOL. The biggest nerf was the change to torgue stickies with Buddy Deluxe. That's what made him really overpowered. So I'm hoping that Gearbox undoes the huge nerf that they did to the Dancer class mod. This used to increase overdrive bonuses by 100%. It's now 50%. They also changed how overdrive is calculated. So instead of being a 6 times multiplier, it's now only 4.5, which heavily nerfs Rafa when literally everything Rafa has to do is overdrive skills. Barrage, Temerario, where he gets all of his damage, is now nerfed quite a bit. Sultado will double the overdrive bonuses, but the mobs in this arena have 6 million health. It's really hard to activate Sultado. But things like the Thrill, which is an overdrive skill increasing your fire rate, the Las Haras here, which is another overdrive to give yourself regenerating ammo, Al Centro, the Deadline here overdrive skill, La Garza overdrive skill, El Soldado, and Brain Dump. All of these are overdrive skills. So when the Dancer class mod got nerfed, it nerfed every single one of these skills. I've seen a lot of people saying that this was no big deal, but I'm going to show you guys the Peacebreaker cannons, which was once considered one of the top 3 builds in the game. It's honestly probably the worst now. It's down there with blue skill tree Harlowe and green Amon. Part of the problem is that a lot of the class mods for Rafa just cannot compare to the Dancer, giving overdrive bonuses. They took the wrong approach, in my opinion, with nerfing this. They should have brought these up to make them worth taking, because as it stands, these just suck. You are going to use the Dancer class mod for pretty much every single build, unless you're doing something a little bit silly, like Grenade Zerker. There are builds for him that TDR throwing builds, which are fine. They are a bit more challenging and not reliable. There's also a melee build, which I'll be posting a little bit later on today. But typically, Rafa's most fun skill tree is using Peacebreaker cannons, and he's a soldier. Using a gun is kind of his whole thing. Now he's worse at using a gun, which is kind of absurd. And in my opinion, the best and most reliable build is to use the beam tossers with metal management, using the Apophis Lance to be able to give yourself the infinite ammo on an underbarrel. He's the underbarrel merchant at this point. So using a Stellium here for those beam tossers really does give him his big boosted damage. The TK's wave with an underbarrel spread launcher is great too, but he honestly really does benefit from using a Dullahan or a Balor here with the underbarrel. This one's got a 82k times 5 damage, so that can work, but oh, how the mighty have fallen. So here's Buddy Deluxe. We're using the shotgun, the TK's wave here, which is normally one of the best weapons. Now I'm not even able to spec for taking the increased aim here, so you can see we're doing some pretty poor damage. Now, yeah, the damage from this is just not doing a whole lot of anything. I'll swap to the Juliet Sparkle here, which is one of the best new weapons in the game. Yeah, you can see his health bar barely moving. Now, Rafa's big thing was previous to the nerfs, he was able to get over 700, even closer to 800% gun damage. The only problem is Rafa doesn't have bonus damage in his kit, so he isn't able to take advantage of that like Vex, Harlowe, and even Amon are able to. So yeah, even with a weapon here that is considered one of the best in slots, he's doing very pitiful damage. As you can see, we're doing a whole lot of nothing. And Peacebreaker cannons are down, so I'm going to try to get that back up, because again, Rafa heavily relies on those Peacebreaker cannons to do pretty much everything. So yeah, you can see here we're just barely melting with a really good gun, and the moment that these stupid eyeballs are going to shoot at him, he's going to be doing nothing, because basically it's just going to get healed back, and we don't put out enough damage to actually deal with them that well. I am trying to line these up for the high caliber here to deal with it. Yeah, and I'm also using something right now so that I can show this without going down, so I'll take off my health booster there, and I'm one tap from going, yeah, see, it's awful. And as it stands right now, using Apophis Lance alongside Sangre por Sangre here allows you to get your Apophis Lance charges back. We want to charge it up because we got El Soldado here. When we charge our Apophis Lance, we get an increase to our gun damage. This at least makes the underbarrels do some pretty solid damage here. The only downside is it's unreliable, and if you end up missing a couple times, goodbye platinum. You can get the platinum with this. I've shown a video. I would actually prefer to do it in an Ultimate Vault Hunter 6 because you still get all the new firmware and everything, and it just makes it easier for poor Rafa. So basically what you want to do is you want to pop this and then use your beam tossers here, and then you want to charge up a shot. You can let it fire. I made a mistake. If you shoot it here, you get the beam tossers. Yeah, I screwed that up. See, it's awful. So yeah, fire off one of these, shoot off your beam tossers. You can see the damage is not bad there. It's these stupid things here where I lost my action skill, but since we hit enough of them, we're actually able to get our action skill back decently well. There's not like a super long time on this. You just have to manage your beam tossers so that you don't end up losing them there. But you can see the boss, in my time of trying to get that, already got healed back to full. Rafa struggles. So now I got my Apophis Lance back. I can shoot my shot and then do the beam tossers, and then I'm dealing with this stupid again. So yeah, I ran out of beam tossers. I'm not even going to clear this boss in Ultimate Vault Hunter. I'm actually covered in sweat right now from doing this. So yeah, you can see here, this is a run. I do have a build on this if you want to check that out. You can do some pretty crazy stuff. You're able to clear that first boss there right away. It is possible with the platinum time. It's just a big challenge and he struggles heavily. So you have to play perfectly. You can see the beam tossers are pretty overpowered. I also want to add, this is an Ultimate Vault Hunter 6. He's just a lot better with that. Metal management's crazy. I literally spent the entire day. It was a really nice day outside, but I was determined to figure out what Rafa could do. Resorted to the old cheese with the beam tossers. This is really all he's got going for him. It sucks so much. But yeah, in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6 with this build, you can get the platinum time. Now I do want to say that if you screw up once, you're likely not getting the platinum, but it is possible here. It's just one of the most frustrating experiences. That's why I'm not going to do it live, because I'm not able to focus, as you really need to focus on this. It's not like Amon, who can just shoot wherever he wants and you can literally be like, you can like go out and, you know, watch a TV show while you're doing it. With this setup, you have to do everything perfectly. I'm running through all my beam tossers here, and you also got to make sure that you have your beam tossers out, because if you accidentally have the normal shot going, it sucks. So you guys saw that there. Peace Breaker cannons, pretty much just not a thing anymore. Apophis Lance, possible if you're cheesing with some underbarrels. The green skill tree can work. It's also not super reliable, and he's a soldier using knives. I don't know how I feel about that, but I will be posting build later because I have been experimenting with it. It can get the platinum time. Again, it's just a little bit more frustrating, and he's the least reliable now, which sucks. I love Rafa, some of the best dialogue in the game. Great voice actor. He also voice acts Deadpool in the Marvel Rivals game, which I'm a big fan of. He's just in a very, very rough spot right now. That's why I'm holding off on doing a skill tree review for all the skill trees, because as it currently stands, Rafa's like D tier. I've been begging Gearbox for a buff to Rafa, because right now he is just a very poor shell of his former self. I had my fingers crossed, because the last update on Thursday here, all it did was fix Harlowe's green tree, made it less unreliable to get her infinite crits going. But Rafa, as it currently stands, is in very rough shape. My thoughts for the character, I've already did a video on it, and I'll be doing another video next week if Rafa doesn't end up getting fixed. I think they need to revert the Dancer class mod changes. I think they need to buff up his kit in general to keep up with the other Vault Hunters, and they need to revert Bullet Buddy Deluxe back to the 8 seconds. The only reason that made this strong was torgue stickies, which have been nerfed. So Rafa caught a huge nerf with that, and everything else too. He's in very rough shape, and as much as it pains me, I think Rafa's one of the most fun characters to play. When the last DLC level 60 dropped, I played Rafa first. He's the one that I played through because I really enjoyed playing Rafa. But right now you're incentivized to not use a capstone and use some janky builds. If you use the red skill tree, you're getting silver. That's just the brutal reality of it right now. I spent 12 to 14 hours playing Rafa, trying every possible thing now, and he's in a very rough shape. So I do hope Gearbox ends up fixing something, because right now as it stands, he is the worst Vault Hunter. Previously, it'd be Harlowe and him competing for the S tier, like that was at level 50. And it's kind of funny, because when level 50 was the power scaling, he was much stronger than he is at level 60. So yeah, something definitely needs to change for him. Now on the flip side here, Harlowe. One of the best designed skill trees in the entire game. We'll get to Cash in a moment, because he is also crazy, but the design philosophy for Harlowe's green skill tree is very reminiscent of Borderlands 3, where everything plays nicely together. So she has skills that give her more gun damage with overshield. She has skills that give her overshield. She has things that give her weapon damage action skill. She has skills that give herself an infinite critical hits after dealing action skill damage. This turns all your damage into infinite critical hits, and critical hits refund her ammo. And this is also crazy because it doesn't take from your reserves, it gives her ammo. One of the biggest problems with the new bosses is ammo. This is all solved with this. She gets bonus damage. So when she gets her gun damage increases from neutron decay, she has bonus damage as well. And even more bonus damage with decoherence. She also can apply her entangled to multiple enemies. What's crazy is confirmed of reality will also give her action skill cooldown, and it gives it to her allies. She's great for solo play, but she's also amazing if you want to play with your friends and be a total bro. I did post a build recently of her red skill tree. It can also get the platinum time. Well, it does have struggles because with this, and neutron capture is really the only skill you'd want to use with it, it turns all your damage into radiation, which is obviously a huge problem against Subjugator, but you can always just go against Thol. The blue skill tree is pretty fun. I have been experimenting with some builds for it. It's a fun one, reminds me of Maya, but it just isn't as good, obviously, as the green skill tree, which is by and far her best one with group study, nuclear winter, and just pretty much what the skills you see here. Now, what makes Harlowe amazing? She can use whatever weapon you want. You do want to obviously elemental match, but I'm going to run into here with the new constable. I can throw in the flash cyclone and the dark beast, which means you're amazing against Bloom Reaper as well. And the Hellwalker, one of my favorites. It got buffed recently, and this is insane. It has a 2-round magazine, so even though Vex has infinite ammo, she can't use this because you're not able to shoot Witchy Trigger Finger off in between them. Harlowe just gets infinite ammo. She doesn't care. She just shoots this as she pleases. She actually has some fun class mods, nothing as insane as like Vex's Teen Witch or some of the other ones for cash, but she does have a new one here from the DLC, the Phlebotomist, which is going to give you bleed, and this can also come with 5 points of unstable isotope, which will give you 35% bonus cryo damage on your attacks and apply bleed as a status effect when your action skill is active. So you're typically going to have your green action skill active at all times, so this is a good choice. I like to roll with the reactor for decoherence, and it also will give you an increased fire rate and gun damage too. But that's not all, folks. She can use heavy ordnances easily because she also regenerates infinite ammo. It's crazy. Harlowe is a ton of fun, and if you enjoyed playing Rafa in the past, this would be the build to play because she is just unstoppable. You see that there? She's clearing this shit real quick. And yeah, you can deal with everything real fast. I wasn't able to shoot the eyeball properly there, but it doesn't even matter. As long as you don't miss your shots like I just did there, she's gonna have a good time. She got her action skill back immediately. We can then go deal with the eyeballs here. Again, I'm doing this live, so it's not perfect. I can't fully focus because I'm thinking about what to say, but you saw it right there. Shreds through everything here. Now, she is a great user of, again, pretty much every meta weapon in the game, so you don't have to worry about, like, you don't even have to have perfect rolls. This is not a perfect roll Dark Beast, and you see we're shredding health bars. I'll use the Flash Cyclone as well. This weapon also shreds. She just does everything good in this game. It is kind of silly. Now, I lost my action skill. I got my action skill back. Did you blink? Because you probably missed me getting my action skill back. That's how powerful she is at that. So, boom, we took down Thol there. Now we got ourselves to deal with the fleshy health bars, which is one of my favorite parts because then we can go ahead and use the Hellwalker here, which you're gonna see is an absolute beast on Harlowe. So yeah, if you miss, you'd have to reload. If you don't miss, you're just gonna blast away. There is a little bit of a glitch right now with Harlowe where she does not always get her infinite ammo back. I've been mostly noticing it on the Gomi, but yeah, it can sometimes occur, but this weapon is obviously really fun. You do have to click a lot, so you probably hear my mouse clicking away because yeah, it's just so powerful. And you get your action skill back immediately. You just got to shoot at an entangled enemy, and pretty much everything's going to be entangled at this point. So yeah, we cleared that pretty quickly. I was missing a lot of shots and still fine. Oh no, we have 20 seconds on our action skill. Yeah, we got it back. It's insane. Harlowe is genuinely insane. I'll bring out the Gomi again, or the Constable again here, because the Constable is a really fun and strong weapon. The Hellwalker, though, has those ricocheting pellets, which means you don't have to worry about all the extra enemies in the arena here. You can see, though, even though I was hitting, sometimes you don't get the... I guess it doesn't always have a 100% chance of giving you infinite ammo back, but it's very likely to with the multi-projectiles from this. Ricochets. She generates overshield, so she's tanky. There's a lot to enjoy with Harlowe here, and it just makes her such a beast. I am praying that Gearbox does not nerf her, because I genuinely really enjoy playing Harlowe. I think she's a great character. It's one that grew on me. I liked playing her at the start, but I was big time Vex and Rafa fan. Right now, though, she is just unstoppable. If you didn't buy cash, she is the one to play. And again, I hope they don't end up nerfing her. I really hope they don't, because she's fun. She's what makes Borderlands feel like a great game. Platinum time, didn't even have to sweat about it. I was covered in sweat playing Rafa. I think it goes without saying, she is S tier. You do likely want to use that green skill tree. Even when playing with the red skill tree, you're probably best off using a bit of the green as well. But yeah, she's S tier for sure. And another thing, again, you can use pretty much whatever weapon you want at any point in the game. Against these bosses, you obviously want an elemental match to be most effective, but she has free reign to do what she pleases. Now, oh boy, where do I start with cash? honestly one of their best designed Vault Hunters of all time. Each of the skill trees is very rewarding to play. With the card one, you feel like Gambit, it's really strong. Some of the best skills are actually in the blue skill tree. A single point into alchemy is amazing. This gives you your fortune stacks when you deal elemental effects. With a waterfall grenade, you're going to get that infinitely. This also lets you go up to 20 fortune stacks. This here will give you anti-up, which is an insane scaling when you're using a small magazine weapon like the Hot Slugger, which is great because he has a chance to enter Windfall when he reloads. This is the fastest reload time in the game. Tons of amazing class mods. I typically like to run the Whale class mod if I'm using the red skill tree. It really depends what you're rolling with. You can get anti-up stacks from Ludopath here, which is great on the green skill tree. His Gamer class mod was really good. It did get nerfed. It's still amazing. His Swindler and Pistolier class mods from the purple are great. The Gamer gives him bleed, which is powerful. Despite getting nerfed, it was just an unintended effect similar to Vex at launch. His new Prestidigitator class mod is amazing because this lets you throw out cards even if you're playing as another skill tree. A little secret, guys, it might end up getting changed, but if you spec into the blue skill tree, pick what augments you want, and then spec into the red or green skill tree, you can use this class mod and keep the cards that you previously had spec'd. It's kind of funny. It will reset when you leave, but in my opinion, the green skill tree with a bit of the red or a lot of red is one of his best, or going with this here, which we're using his red skill tree and not even going that far, just looking for our fire rate and then taking the blue skill tree and getting these here for massive boost to our damage. And I should remove House Edge because he generates fortune stacks like it's nobody's business here. All three of his skill trees are great. I do have builds and I'll have those linked in the comments if you want to see them in further detail. I'm just going to showcase one because this is even easier than Amon. Now you can use whatever weapons you want, but his action skill here is so powerful, and with the Whale class mod we have it infinitely because when we get fortune stacks we get 10% of our action skill down, and that means that if we get 10 stacks of fortune we get our action skill back. We can get 10 stacks of fortune in like 0.1 seconds when using a waterfall grenade. You do have to have like the lingering payload on it, but yeah, this is crazy. I'm not using perfectly rolled gear because you could use something like a fire rate increase. I'm just using movement speed because it's really fun to zip around. So what this looks like is you're just going to toss grenades here to get your windfall stacks, and then you're just going to hold down your fire button and reload till you get our action skill out, and then we're going to activate our special rocket ability, and you see it there. It's crazy. The only problem is every Vault Hunter seems to struggle a little bit against that phase right there, but what we're going to try and do is then get this active and shoot off the rockets to destroy these eyes here, and then destroy this. Subjugator is kind of the hardest part for this, and you saw we did it in a few seconds here. Oh, lovely. Oh, we got back up, and I was able to go into my action skill. Now, I don't have my action skill, I got my action skill. That's the crazy thing, is this build really does benefit from that. Yeah, you seeing it here, folks. The damage is off the charts. It's really easy, and it's also fun having a third person setup like this. You can enter and exit your class or your ability here whenever you need to, and then you can just go ahead here, fish for your windfall, and then toss out grenades to get your action skill back. We're gonna have our action skill back in 1 second here, and then we can pop away with this and just delete Subjugator. We also have crazy lifesteal here with this setup, so yeah, we don't have anything to worry about. It's so overpowered, it's silly. This isn't even his best build in my opinion. I really like his green mixed with the red. I'll again have that linked in the comments. You typically want to fish for your windfall. Again, I like to take off the thing that gives him the half his stacks whenever he enters windfall, because we benefit from the Whale class mod from going into it as much as possible. But yeah, typically the whole flow to this is shoot and reload, get your action skill back by throwing a grenade. We're in windfall, blast away, press F so we shoot rockets, and then press down your left mouse button so that you shoot really fast, and then just bounce around. We have overshield steal from the Whale class mod, so insanely powerful. You can attempt to enter windfall, and I would recommend trying that often just because we want to try and get in and out of windfall as quickly as possible. This is just so powerful because once we go into windfall we then lose our fortune stacks, which lets us then throw out a grenade to get them back. I don't have my action skill, but I do have it now. I'm just going to wait and try to go into windfall again here. So yeah, you just basically, oh, we went down here, that's fine, so we can typically get back up in a second. I didn't time that well. And I'll do that again. This class mod gives him the most survivability with the overshield, but basically we want to get those elemental effects going, so the waterfall is amazing for that. We got into windfall again, and then we'll press F to go into rocket blasting mode, press down your left mouse button to then go into super rocket blasted mode, and there goes Thol's half of his health bar immediately. So yeah, it's insane. You can also throw grenades in your action skill. Rafa and his blue and green skill trees cannot do that. He can in Peacebreaker cannons, but as mentioned, Peacebreaker cannons is just like unusable at this point. We want to get our action skill back. We can just throw a grenade. We got our action skill back. We got a windfall. Yeah, it's insane how much damage this setup does. And it's also really nice with the whale class mod because you can pretty much guarantee that the moment that you're getting your action skill back, you're going to go into windfall as well. So everything pairs together really nicely with this setup. And again, it also has lifesteal if you use the whale class mod. You can roll for the higher fire rate or use the pistolier. The pistolier will have more damage, which is nice. I just typically like this. You can also enter and exit your windfall whenever you want, because we just want to go into fishing here for windfall stacks. Throw out a grenade so your actions go back, and then press F and blast away at the rockets, which just absolutely melt everything. Platinum has never been easier, and this is not even his best build. I really like using the green and the red skill tree together here. Giving yourself infinite ammo is what you guys are watching here. This also allows you to use heavy ordnances, which is insane. With this build, unlike Harlowe though, Harlowe has true infinite ammo. She regenerates it. This build, it takes from your reserves. But the thing is, a heavy ordnance doesn't have reserves. It has infinite reserves, so you can use it. Actually, someone called me a cheater because they said heavy ordnance is not supposed to have infinite ammo, but that's the way his build literally works. So it has an answer for every problem, because if you run out of ammo on all your guns, heaven forbid, you can then just pull out a heavy ordnance and not have to worry about it. And much like Harlowe, you can use any weapon you want. It'll clear things quicker. I really like the flak cannon though. This thing is pretty strong and it's a fun one. This is a new weapon, but it's not even his best in slot. This is using gloam to glow, so you want to slide around to then activate gloam to glow, because you get it from losing windfall stacks. The wind rider also works here. Yeah, you can see it right there. Like, I'm not even like doing things perfectly here. We were able to clear that really quickly. And then getting into the second phase here, you can see we just can use whatever weapons we want. That's using a corrosive weapon and it's still shredding. You can use the new Herald, and the Herald's actually pretty insane with this because you're getting the gloam to glow on top of that and multiple projectiles. It's pretty strong. So if there's a weapon that you wanted to use, you can probably use it really effectively here. He also gets pretty much infinite bone totems as well, which do a lot more damage than Amon's forge drones, much more damage than like Vex in a lot of situations. And the thing is, you're so open with the weapons you want to use. So the green and the red skill tree are amazing. The red and the blue skill tree are amazing. All of them get platinum easily. Cash is honestly one of the best designed Vault Hunters they've ever made. Such a fun character as well. I hope that the next Vault Hunter that'll release later in the fall will be on the same level of Cash, but I'm just, yeah, at a loss for words how powerful he really is. With new weapons, he's only going to get crazier. So I really also hope they don't end up nerfing Cash. I think he's in a, like, obviously he's the most powerful in the game, so I am going to put him above Harlowe in the S tier. All three of his skill trees can easily get the platinum time. He can even do it in Ultimate Vault Hunter 7 True Mode. Everything he does is unstoppable. So yeah, that's my ranking of each of the Vault Hunters in terms of their power levels against Ultimate Vault Hunter 7. Bloom Reaper also taken into account here. This would have shocked me if I would have seen this 5 months ago, where I placed Rafa at the bottom, because he was up there with Harlowe for being the best in the game. Hopefully Gearbox will end up changing something, bringing him back to his former glory, but it's a good day to be an Amon main. He is pretty crazy with the right setup. You do have to have the DLC to get the most out of it, but even without, he can destroy Bloom Reaper really easily. Cash and Harlowe are just in an element of their own. Really fun too. I really enjoy it because they let you play with whatever weapons you want to use, whereas some of the others, you have to rely on like beam tossers and such like that. And also, if you're skipping to the end of this video to see where I ranked and you're upset about Vex, go back and watch Vex compared to Amon and you'll see why. Vex is great. Again, my favorite Vault Hunter. Just doesn't have the same power scaling as some of the others. Amon got some really nice buffs and he's in a much better place though. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already. Hope you guys all have a great day and we'll catch you in the next one.